We are back, baby. It's Case Files, and we got another round of them coming at you here from the Task Force HQ, man. We had to dust off this room. We had to actually deconstruct it and then rebuilt it.
Yeah. So many cases, a lot of files.
Yeah.
Where are we storing them? I don't know.
In fact, too many files. I've been burning them. I hope that's how you handle those.
Well, that's why no one ever remembers anything from Future Mysteries.
Can't remember from the future. Hey, what are we doing here for Case Files? We are going over your comments and your evidence from our hunt at the USS Hornet. A lot of things, a lot of time codes, a lot of thoughts, a lot of debunking, which I think you'll like.
Perfect.
Answers.
Done. That's what I've been asking for.
So we're gonna go through, we're gonna look at a lot of the top timestamps from that ghost hunt. But if you haven't seen it, it is available for you. And if you head to the Rooster Teeth app, we did a watch along kind of director's commentary about our experience.
Yeah. Live. That was our first time actually seeing it. So
yes.
It's kind of also like a live reaction to as well. So.
Yep, and we watched along with you guys, and you guys give us your thoughts live in that moment. It was great. But now we get to dissect some of the time codes, some of the comments, and then those moments. Last time when we did this with the Penhurst Asylum, well, things got a little eerie. We saw some movements.
They did, and we had our cameraman, Cameron, here to kind of just help debunk things because, you know,
he's firmly on the skeptic side.
Firmly on the skeptic, also very knowledgeable with cameras. Yes. So it's like, well, the way the lens and the sensor, not here.
Not here to bring us back down to earth.
Right.
So instead we have you guys in the task force. Without further ado, let's dive in. This first one says, so I saw a couple of light orbs, particularly around 2640. They say they saw a light orb on Fredo's left shoulder and then a big one at 3320. There is a light orb that flies to Fredo's head while he is complaining about it. I love that so much of this particular investigation centered around you. You needed the evidence.
So much. We did 2 ghost hunts and they were all centered around you and Christian. Now I'm getting hit.
Third time's a charm. Now it's you, baby. Let's take a look at these clips.
I'm not trained for this. How do you talk to an entity?
See it all right?
The task force has courses, but I never attended any of them.
So I'm looking at your shoulder here.
Hello, is anyone there?
There you go.
If so, can you turn off the flashlight?
I'll be honest.
I didn't see him.
I'm not sure I'm seeing him.
I'm not sure I'm seeing him.
Because that's what we got to be honest, task force. That's what we want to do when we approach a ghost hunt investigation. We want to look practically at what's going on. We are going to debunk what we can. We're going to assess what we can't. And then if there's any other questions, we leave it to you and also the believers to see what we see.
I didn't see him. Happy that I didn't. But damn.
I'm going to take a quick gander, just real quick. It was somewhere around your left shoulder.
Hello, is anyone there?
And then around your head.
If so, can you turn off the flashlight? I'm not trained for this. How do you talk to an entity?
We got a really reflective screen here. I will say one thing that could be happening
but I never attended any of them.
is when we're in such low light environments like this, especially with night vision, you can get some weird lens flare sort of situations.
Some like dust particles and stuff?
Especially dust particles in old places. Bugs are a common one, but this place, it's an old museum, so it is trafficked. There's foot traffic, people come through. Dust is totally possible. I'm not seeing it, but with the lack of focus, it could be entirely possible that there's just a physical artifact in the air.
I'm just glad there isn't like a clear cut, like, bam. That's a little shiny, sparkly orb right there.
Right, an orb that floats in without a consistent movement, settles on you, maybe moves away.
Then I'd have to go with, like, it's just a really thick bug.
All right, so we looked at the shoulder one. We kind of assessed it, didn't see much. Let's take a look now at the clip where it should be around your head. Everybody in here, my friend Alfredo would like a cuddle, just some company. I used you as my vessel. Feeling super well,
yeah,
so
you
maybe,
did.
Maybe somebody, you feeling something? When you complain, it says. So let's see here. Oh, I saw something around your chin.
I felt my hip. I felt something on my hip. I thought it was my wire, but it's not my wire.
Okay. Did I see something? Let me go back frame by frame a little bit. Right here on the right side of this flashlight, you see like an orb shoot up. And now it's coming down because I'm going back.
I see it.
Going forward again. It's shooting up.
That's gotta be like dust vertically shooting through. It does do it in a straight line, and it's like a thick dust.
Yeah. So
maybe it's a dust bunny.
Instantly, when I looked at this particular scene, there's a lot of lights bouncing around in a lot of places. You can see, I mean, right here, you got a giant J.J. Abrams signature. You know,
the lens
big
flare.
old lens flare.
Yeah.
I'm instantly thinking, okay, we're going to see some lens flares. But the fact that this moves vertically up and it moves in a path that the camera doesn't counteract, it doesn't move with it.
Yes.
And it moves faster than everything else. It does stand out. It is interesting. But I can't debunk it fully with the camera movement or the light movement because, again, it's not matching one for one.
Yeah.
Or even
I will say, though, it is on its own path.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
So it's open.
Ooh.
Interesting. Especially when you're starting to... I'm saying go hang out with him, and you're saying I feel something.
That's dust. That's dust. There's
It's
no one there with me.
It's a friendly post-mortem dust particle. Most dust, by the way, is dead human skin cells. So in a way, it was something.
Someone.
It was someone.
Someone.
All right, so our next comment comes from the timestamp 44:43. It says, does anyone else see a face on the cabinet? It looks so much like the face in the thumbnail of their, quote, story behind the Hornet video.
Damn. Okay. A face is pretty scary. So it's probably a face of a person that's well known on the ship.
What's interesting about this timestamp is that this isn't the only person that said this. There were a handful of comments like this one that said, did anyone else see the face on the left-hand side at 44?
I'm going to try and get ahead of this and just say that we like to see patterns. And so, you know, you're looking up at a cloud and I'm like, wow, is that Bowser from Super Mario? That's amazing.
It is Bowser.
And then it's people just seeing a face.
Right. And then another person, again, 44, extra second. They also point out that the locker looks like it has a face. So it looks like we're going to look on the left side on the locker that a face might show up. And this was in response to themselves kind of seeing other faces at other times. But
a lot of people were seeing this face.
Yeah. In fact, another one, there's a longer comment, said that at 44:41, there's a big face on the left side of the frame in the lockers when Trev turns the camera away from the REM pod. It might just be the results from the compression quality on mobile because they're watching on their phone, but it definitely startled them. So they're looking for hollow eyes somewhere on the left-hand side. I know we're dealing with reflection.
Oh, I see it.
So I'll face it to you.
I do see it.
So we're
Damn, that's a face.
Looks like right here is what I'm seeing. So we'll keep playing to see what happens.
Big old face.
I framed that up right. I can't see nothing.
Does it go away though?
It doesn't go away, and it tracks very hard on that. So it makes me wonder if we saw that in daytime.
Did I frame that up right? I can't see
light.
Nothing.
Wow, that is.
It's interesting. I mean,
Man, I wish we just shined a light on that, but how are we to know?
Right.
You know, it's a locker. So the bottom is like what?
The slats.
The
for
slats?
The locker.
But where are the slats on the right side?
That's a great question.
Right? Because like these are two lockers next to each other.
Yes.
So why aren't they even remotely?
It could be wear and tear. It could be dense. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But I literally say in this moment, I can't see anything. The only way I could possibly see was by looking through the lens of the camera in the night vision. Now, here's the thing that stands out to me. Humans are pattern recognizers. We look for things that look like the things we recognize, as you mentioned with the clouds.
That's a face.
The thing that stands out in particular about this face, and looking at other evidence that we've both captured and also that I've just seen because I'm a paranormal freak, is it doesn't move, it doesn't blur, it doesn't come and go. It tracks so vividly on the physical item that
I would say that it's just the locker itself giving off face vibes.
It's giving off face vibes.
But damn, that's a face.
I mean, watching this back, if I had seen that, it definitely would have startled me.
If it shifted, shifted, imagine.
He goes, but you hear a rusty like.
I mean, that's evidence. But this is a face, stays tracked to the locker. I'm just gonna say we're seeing a pattern here, but that is a big old face.
A lot of people saw this face. All right. This person says, am I losing it? Or at 27:25, right before Shane says, quote, we're always good, do you guys hear like a female voice right before he says it? Or is that a noise from the mic cutting in and out, or what?
We're always good. We're always good. We're always good. We're always good.
You know what that sounds like to me? Like Shane saying it twice, almost. A little bit like, we're always good. We're always good. You know what I mean? It almost sounds like the same sentence. Was this you and Shane alone in this room?
Well, the guide was in the room with us.
Okay. Because there were certain elements or places on the ship that the guide had to legally be with us at.
But she was very respectful of us filming and walking about, rarely talked outside of like moments that were necessary.
Right.
Okay. That's my excuse.
Okay.
The guy slipped in a little something.
We pumped the audio again. I want to listen to this just closely. Let's see here.
We're always good. 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 We're always good.
I don't know, Task Force, what do you think? There's some practical answers, but I really want to get everyone's ears on this one because it's hard to feel that one out. All right, let's take a look at the next comment. All right, this one says, I thought my cat was making some sort of meow or squeak sound at 2917, but it wasn't the cat, and they didn't react to hearing it. So we didn't react to whatever the sound was. So this person was startled by a sound they heard, essentially, but other people heard it too. They said there was a loud scream/door opening sound as the camera pans to the REM pod. Not sure if that was one of the crew squeaking their shoes or not, but I'll tell you, not squeaky floors.
No,
solid metal.
There weren't squeaky floors, and like we're very aware of sounds and noises. And so if anyone's shoes squeaked, we would have either been frightened by it or made fun of it.
Right. Or at least noticed it and debunked it.
Yeah, we would have pointed that out immediately.
So somebody else responds to them and says they noticed it too. Sounded like metal on metal. And you can hear it later
that
on,
answer.
maybe like a minute later, what sounds like a shoe squeak. So let's take a listen to what this moment might be.
Okay, I'm gonna leave now unless you want to turn the flashlight off. Maybe trigger the motion sensor.
Oh, it does sound like a cat. That is a squeak. And we were left alone.
And you didn't hear that in the moment.
We were guided up to that little like room by our guide. She left. We were in here for a while. Nick, Shane, and I made sure to just kind of stand there, not move, not make noise. And then you and Christian were just taking a little break back at home base.
Right. Which we'll come back to because there's another element with that. But it's worth heavily reiterating is that like each of these floors are very solid and relatively soundproof. You can't go walking around like it's a house and hear it on the next floor down. Damn. So any sound we hear is usually very localized.
Yeah.
And since we all know where we are at,
Didn't catch. That was 100% a noise.
Yeah.
That sounds like a squeak. I'm gonna chalk it up to just metal and rust.
this man is seeking answers.
I'm
to
just
calm the soul.
trying to fire off with like with any excuse to not be a ghost.
I think we got a ghost cat.
That'd be
You
cute.
never know. But no, we also know that none of the spirits really on this particular vessel are negative in any way. There's
Yeah.
no real negative experiences,
No.
which was nice because it allowed us to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable, despite it being dark and eerie.
yeah.
Kind of asking questions and seeking answers. You know.
And it had the outline of his body because it tracks in a couple different.
So that sounds like an absolute shoe squeak.
Yeah.
That is like prominent in the room, echoing. You can hear it pretty close to one of the cameras. So that does open the door to a shoe squeak as someone's standing up. Christian's trying to.
Christian just did it. He's squeaking away. Shane's
Now they're just
squeaking.
playing a whole game of b-ball.
Well, now we know that y'all got squeaky shoes.
Did you wear those
Not this pair, but I
Nikes?
did wear Jordans.
Jordan squeak?
Jordan squeak.
I have. I even have some, some 70s Blazers at home, and they
Mine don't squeak.
squeak.
I wore these shoes.
There we go.
Running shoes. They don't squeak.
You never know when a spooky pair of Nikes are gonna spoil the moment. All right, this next one says at 1742, they can't tell if this is just the noise, but it looked like something moved within the lighter part of the shadows. Noise being like film grain camera noise.
Or if there were anything to pass the hallway, I don't know if I'd see it.
So what's interesting about this particular clip is that a lot of shadow movements have been
Kind of
seen.
like shift a
Yeah.
bit. Like, especially in the bottom middle, that kind
Yeah.
of like shifts around a bit, but it's constant.
This
though.
light area shifts. This person, I think, is referring to this kind of area over here on the left. That is the thing about film noise and a low light environment. When you crank the ISO, if you're looking through night vision, all these little speckles, that's grain as it's trying to pick up as much light as possible in the sensor. And It does move, it does shift, it feels noisy. Now, if you are a first member, it is a way to support this show, redwebpod.com/first. You get access to a bunch of benefits like bonus episodes of Case Files here, as well as this particular clip. We left it up uncut, raw, it's about 10 to 15 minutes, and we put it up for first members. So if you're interested in looking at this as uncompressed as possible and as the internet will allow, and you want to look at any sort of shadow movement, it is available on the Rooster Teeth app, so go check that out. So here, Jillian had actually cranked the overall brightness digitally to help emphasize
I'll be
anything
honest,
that might have
it
been
felt
moving
like
on that
a
left
lot
side.
of inky blackness.
So for me, like,
shifting in the light and the shadows.
yeah, you can see like this little knob here, or whatever this item is on the wall. You can see it almost like it's in a mirage, like it's waving. So that's an example of how the noise can make things look like it's moving. But again, the fact that the shadow moves a little bit, like a foot, and then goes back, could be something. Could very much be
It
something.
was hard to not, if there were anything to pass the hallway.
Oh, there was something there in the bottom, like right down here.
Bottom, yeah. It looked like it lit up a little bit more.
Now, I will say that could be one of us impeding the night vision light, which is invisible to our eyes, but definitely going to be picked up on this camera.
Were anything to pass the hallway.
See that? Just a little undulation.
It undulates. It didn't do that previously.
Didn't do that previously. We don't see the rest of the light being blocked up. But so, in reference to that kind of undulating light, at the end of that clip, I'm kind of talking about how I'm staring down this dark hallway where we can't see anything. And I'm even saying in the moment, it's hard to not see things move because eventually your eyes start to like either play tricks on you or it becomes kind of like an illusion itself. And so you do shine your red light down there. And so that could be what we saw.
It could be me just like prepping it, turning it on, and then coming over.
We're trying to provide contrast so our human eyes might be able to see some form of movement. But all right, let's head to the next clip and see what we got. Now it says this is faint. It could be from Christian or Nick shifting in the room, but it does look like there's shifting on the dial for the flashlight.
What?
You don't want to hear that. What? We are messing a lot with the mag light, which there was a lot of comments.
Oh,
on.
that's like real big time physical movement.
Yeah.
Even if it's subtle.
We will definitely address at least one of the very interesting mag light debunk conversations in the comments. But let's take a look at this clip. If you'd like us to leave and start looking at other spots on the ship, go ahead and turn the light back on.
If you want us to spend some.
So I think this might be similar in that we're seeing some low light camera noise, which is creating kind of a movement on it. You know what I mean?
It's the noise. You guys hearing that?
Oh, there's a noise? Okay, Christian's saying there's a noise, so I thought there would be a visible.
It's like as soon as the camera cuts, there's like a.
Okay,
Okay. As soon as the camera cuts, there's a noise.
let's take another look here.
If you want us to spend some.
Okay, so there's a small click is what this comment is referring to. So I thought they were talking visibly about the dial being moved.
Yeah,
That's easily addressed, but the click,
I mean, that could be.
well, that sounds spooky.
That's demonic.
I think we need to cleanse you. Now, the only thing about the click that I would say is
Anything on any person.
right, your bones even. You know, we're getting up there. Our 30-year-old bones are clicking and crackling. Now, if it was a click of the flashlight mechanism, you would expect the light probably to follow behind very quickly.
It doesn't click though.
Yeah.
It's just a smooth dial.
It's a twisty dial. So,
Let's say it's on our person.
I think that might be one of us.
I don't know. It was mid-question.
It's very. Trevor?
Dude, I was reaching my tipping point there. That's what you saw. You saw a man in fear.
The next timestamp, 12:18, sounds like a chair scraping the floor.
Gotta be.
It does sound like a chair scrape.
It's also moving exactly when your arm does, but your arm's not hitting anything.
No one was really sitting on anything that was a part of the crew behind the scenes.
Right. I think Christian was the only person that sat, and when he stood up, the tablecloth fell down. That was a whole separate moment that we kind of debunked in the moment. So otherwise, you know, unless it's him sitting down, we, as this person pointed out, we did all of our own subtitles, so we try to debunk any sounds that we heard.
Yeah.
So this one, anomalous.
Yeah, that's a chair scrape for sure.
Yeah, maybe the captain was sitting down with us,
That'd
tickling our flashlight.
be unfortunate.
I think that's what's going on here. All right, let's take a look at the next one. This one is 31:43. Did anyone else catch the whistle sound? It starts at the end of the 43-second mark and goes through the 44th second. It's a distinct whistle.
Oh no. Get a hold of my surroundings.
Oh. Okay, well, definitely none of us had a whistle.
I don't like that.
That's a very distinct sound.
That sounds like someone trying to play one of those water jugs, but like they didn't do it well. No, but that's seriously like, okay, so a lot of us are coming down the stairs. There could be some scraping and scrapping. It could be my knees. My knees were really hurting.
It could just be like the pressure we're putting on those stairs, maybe? I don't...
Like a hollow whistle, you know?
Maybe air just moved through a narrow funnel on the ship,
Across a porthole.
I was just saying.
My surroundings. There.
Dang.
That sounds like a classic wind noise too.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't remember hearing that in the moment.
Whoa.
And we went up and down these stairs countless times. They're pretty solid. It does have chains, I think, for the handrails, so that's some movement. But let's take a look at the next comment. I want to hear the rest of the team's input on Trevor's encounter at 48:05 with a little sweaty, nervous look.
What in the Blair Witch?
Oh.
Is that a person?
So in real life, like when I was actually filming this, what I'm seeing is like, I thought someone here, looking back at it on the footage on a bigger screen, I can definitely tell that it's more of a trickery of the light. Because what I was seeing is just a very, very dark room. No one was in here.
Yeah.
But what the camera is seeing is the light grid from the SLS camera on the night vision, and that is actually providing more illumination so that way the camera can actually see more, obviously, than what I'm seeing. And this debunks the moment. All right, we have, I think, 2 more clips.
Got it.
And then I do want to at least briefly address the mag light thing, and if I don't have time for it, it is in the watch along. There was a fun conversation about that. So at 14:13, somebody saw an orb at the bottom right-hand side of the frame.
Mechanics along the wall that people have seen them being engaged with. There's been times where people poke out of doors.
Oh, okay.
And then go.
I saw something.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah.
There's been times where people poke out of doors.
There it is. Right where I say doors, you can see, yeah. So what's interesting about this one is you can see all that noise, but in the noise, right here, this is the first frame where this kind of orb just appears, right? Goes away. If I go back, if I come forward, there it is. And then it moves down. You see it? Now it's moving down right here.
Wow, Task Force, y'all got some eyes on you.
And then it fades away. So literally in the corner, it shows up here,
subtle.
goes straight down, and fades away again. And now what's interesting about that is it could be dust coming in and out of light.
That's the most subtle orb, though.
All right, the last clip we have is something I think is quite fascinating. We did make this as a vertical clip, but I'll play it for you here.
Hello, is there anyone here that used to work here?
Yeah.
There is a double jingle.
Yeah, there's that jingle.
Now, it's a double jingle of, and someone from the task force with an astute observation pointed out, could it be a man piling M&Ms into a mason jar? Now, this sounds, I will say, exactly the same.
Yeah,
Sounds
it
like
does.
a haunting Christmas claus coming down the chimney.
Oh my goodness.
But the thing that I struggle with is and it's the
Were you
thing.
carrying it on you at that moment?
No.
No.
I messed with it. I filled it one time, set it down, and never did anything
But
with it
that
again.
was like a while before or after.
I did this at the end of the night for what it's worth. And the thing I'm struggling with is that each of the floors are so difficult to hear between. They are so ironclad.
Wait, we went like multiple floors down.
Yes.
That was left up there. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't filled until after.
Right.
Because we were already, I mean, I'm talking about like 20, 30 minutes after, because yeah, we were starting to like, we went back, we talked a bit, we started wrapping up some equipment.
It's uncanny the way it sounds.
It sounds just like it, but it did not happen at the same time.
The ghosts are gaslighting us. Neil Armstrong is gaslighting me. He goes, I don't care if you're a Purdue alum. I'm going to make sure I jingle jangle the M&Ms in the tin before
That is a
you leave.
very distinct jingle.
Oh, yeah. Now, we're being told we got to wrap up, but I do want to address two interesting comments that don't have visual assets to them. One is from the YouTube comments. It says that the mag light could be explained by heat generated building up, kind of expanding the mechanism, turning it on, then heats up, cools off, whatever, the expansion
I
contraction.
like that. It's just, damn. Okay.
Somebody else also said, I wondered if the battery components become acclimated to the environment. Then with the opening, loosening that the battery compartment, that even their hot breath would be enough to cause it to expand. The expansion of the battery components that would then turn it on. It's a valid point.
It is.
It works with the anatomy of a mag light.
Even if we're not looking at it directly and talking to it directly, our breath is heating up the environment.
Sure.
That's so subtle.
It's very subtle. And the thing is, as there were times of
When
random.
our bodies generate heat,
Definitely. And with response times, like there were times where the light was on cue and then there were random times. So it really falls into two different camps and there's a lot of thoughts on it. But the last thing I want to say before we wrap up is the Morse code element. I was talking to the REM pod, which again, we're in a high electronic environment, a lot of radio signals in this city. And so it could be fully debunked just by that. But there was a moment that I thought it did sound like Morse code. A lot of task force members tried to transcribe it, tried to see if it was Morse code, what would it sound like, what would it translate to. Some people translated it to the letter E. Eerily, a few people translated it to the word high, but then some person went even deeper and tried to figure out, is it like TYNG, LP, HI, HRD, LIT? And they were, again, maybe filling in the gaps a little bit, but trying to see what it could say. And they were thinking, does it say trying, help, high, hard, light?
task force, I love you. You guys really
Get hands on.
You get in there, man.
Get in those
You
cracks.
get in there, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And I enjoy seeing you guys just run away with it.
You debunk some of the things that we're not certain about, and you really try to get in there with us and assess things, even if you're a believer, even if you're a skeptic. I love that we all come to play and figure this stuff out, because I love the paranormal, but I love scientific method as well. And we would love to do more ghost hunt and investigations. If you like this kind of stuff, let us know. We would love to do more than one a year, and maybe 2024 could be that year. Our fingers are crossed. Task Force, come along with us. And we'll see you next week for a bonus episode of Case Files exclusive for First members. That's right, it's going to be every other week on YouTube and every other week for First members. Thank you so much for supporting the show by becoming a First member. redwebpod.com/first. Oh, Fredo. So many spooky clips, so many spooky sounds. We gotta keep digging through these comments. There's so much.
There's a lot.
So much. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. But I mean, like, look at this one. Like, there's so many timestamps.
Fishing line.
Fishing. Well, that could be fishing line. That could be fishing line. But what about this one? This one's
That one's a thicker fishing line.
well, thicker.
Yeah.
This one, a naked ghost.
Baby
coming after
hands.
me. Could be baby hands. The hands are smaller as a child's.